want to use any of this.
Why?
Because.
Because why?
I don't know.
Okay. Welcome back. Hi, Iris. Sorry, I scared our cat. Come here, honey. You okay? I'm Brad.
I'm Rach.
And this is our vlog channel where we vlog about our daily lives and everything that's going around in it. We have 5 kids, 2 sets of twins. Everybody's always like their jaws on the floor when I tell them about our family dynamic. Twins that are 5 years old, they're boys and girls. You just saw the intro. The middle one is 3, that's Eloise, and then we have 2 9-month-old twins.
Mm-hmm. They're both girls.
So needless to say, it's a crazy, crazy life.
I feel like the first question that's asked with twins now is, are they boys, girls?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. Then I feel like when I say I have 5 kids, they don't believe me. Or they say like, are they all yours? Are some of them adopted?
Oh, really?
Yes.
I've never had that.
Oh, I do. All the time. Isn't it weird?
That's a girl question.
That must be a girl question.
Well,
like,
it's because you're so skinny.
Did you, oh, stop.
Well,
did you
true.
birth all of them?
It's because you're so young and attractive and skinny.
Okay. Anyway, we have 5 kids, 5 and under. They're the joy of our lives.
It's fun to say 5 and under instead of under 5.
Yeah. It really doesn't sound different though.
Yeah, but just in my mind, 5 kids under 5.
Or 5 kids, 5 and under. Yeah.
It was a lot.
And it still is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on.
Including a big move in 2.5 months.
It's 9 weeks away.
Yeah. 9 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Less than 12.
Well, sorry, we have 9 weeks left of clinic.
Oh, okay.
We did the math today. I had a dream last night that my staff and I had a big group hug.
And then did you do one today?
No, but I told them about it. But in my dream, I don't know if I should say this on here. In my dream, everybody was like, I can't believe you're leaving. And they were like, we were all hugging and we were embracing. And then I said, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck with me and it's gonna suck without me. I was telling them like, no matter what happens, it's gonna suck.
Why would it still suck if you were there?
Because the company was still acquired.
Oh, I
and like everything's changing within our company. So it's, I don't know. That was my dream. So that was my.
So then did you say it?
Today?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I did. I said in my dream, I told you, I hugged you guys, I embraced you, and I said, it's gonna suck without me. It still would have sucked with me. Is like how I said it.
Yeah. Did they all laugh?
Yes.
Of course they did.
Well, yeah. Anyway.
Was it one of those cry laughs?
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fine. Anyway.
For everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting ready to move across the country, so it is a lot of moving parts. It's been therapeutic to like prepare for a move again. I think is like somebody like me's dream.
Oh, to get rid of all of our stuff.
Go through every single thing that we own.
Yeah. Well, not only are we, obviously, we're also like getting ready to sell our house.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we need to get
the house ready.
Declutter everything.
I've done one right behind you guys. Here, I'll show you. That was like sand or something in there. This little shelf here I have done. That's about it.
And that's it.
And that's it.
All right, that's the extent of the tour. Stay tuned for more.
If you know what that shelf looked like before.
That's true, and we don't have like a before picture.
Oh, I'm trying.
Did you take one?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we're moving. A lot going on. I've also had a recent diagnosis that has been so eye-opening and helpful for me. I'm trying to look at this as like a really positive thing.
Oh, definitely. Me too. Well, especially because, so Rachel's always been on an anti-anxiety med, and so she...
Not always.
Well, no, but what, the past how many years?
Since I was, yeah, 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
It's only about half of our marriage, though.
Postpartum with the twins.
Yeah, postpartum with the twins, I was put on an anti-anxiety med.
When you had postpartum depression.
Correct.
So, do you think you actually had postpartum depression?
Yes.
Okay. Because you've had it with all the kids.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's definitely heightened. However, okay, so you say that and I say yes very confidently. Maybe not. We don't know yet. Like, I'm going through a really deep, really extensive therapy right now. We don't know yet if I have anxiety or not. So the real, I guess, story is that all my life I have had, instead of anxiety, I have had OCD. And I bet a lot of you are like, oh yeah, that's super obvious. Maybe not a lot, maybe not a lot, but like...
yeah, I don't think you showcase it. I never knew. You never even knew.
I didn't even know.
So how would anybody else know?
So about 2 weeks ago, well, yeah.
I mean, just because you may have OCD tendencies, maybe that's from anxiety.
It could be.
Right.
Right. It's a very convoluted, especially if you're not like a mental health professional, it's very convoluted, and there are a lot of overlap on symptoms for somebody who has anxiety and somebody who has OCD or ADHD, or like all of the subcategories of anxiety are all of those things that I just mentioned, and you just don't know unless you work with a professional. And the one that I'm working with now is going through each of the like subcategories and asking me pertinent questions. PTSD is another one. Asking me questions about each of those subcategories to see if I have anything else besides OCD, which OCD is for sure. And then anxiety, just general anxiety disorder, GAD, is what I've always thought I've had. Is a question mark still. Depression is out.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Why is that out?
Because I don't meet the criteria. I don't meet the criteria for PTSD. I don't meet the criteria for...
Bipolar disorder?
I don't think she's asked the questions about that, but it's been really... Should we back up?
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I feel like we just kind of jumped into this without...
Well, I doubt anybody's new around here.
Right. So I've struggled with mental health for my whole life. Been on medication for the last 5 years. Haven't really felt total relief, but attributed it to what?
You've only really done... It's interesting because you haven't really done like full-fledged counseling.
No.
Like, yeah, you have a psychiatrist. Yeah, they prescribed you medicine.
She does not talk through anything.
Right, exactly. So there's a huge difference between a therapist and a psychiatrist.
Right.
A psychiatrist regulates your meds, whereas a therapist actually gets down to the root of the problem.
When you go to a psychiatrist, I think it's pretty much assumed that you already have your diagnosis. And I don't remember when I set up like my initial consultation with her if I said, like, if I came to her saying I have GAD, and that's how she proceeded, and she assumed that I had that diagnosis from somebody. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how, like, did you have to have a referral? Or did you just call?
No, I think I just called. So, there's some holes in our system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I have a doctorate level education, and I still, like, didn't know what exactly I had. And I thought I knew what I had and was able to, like, proceed with medications and everything based on what I thought I had. And that's not okay. Like, you need to be diagnosed by a professional.
So would you...
Even if you think you know, you...
I was gonna say, would you say you fooled your doctor or you tricked your doctor?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't... I think she thought that I knew what I had and she didn't ask the follow-up questions. But
so basically, you've had the wrong diagnosis for 5 years. Yeah, it's frustrating.
It is frustrating, especially when you come to the point where, let's go back to like October of last year. That was when I was starting to hit a low, and it was like the part of postpartum where I usually get, I mean, that's like a typical low for me, is around that time postpartum. So it wasn't totally out of the blue. I was feeling pretty bad around October last year. I talked to my therapist about it and she was like, let's up your medication. Let's bump it up. I was on the lowest dose of Cymbalta at that time and she said, let's bump it up to just the next level and see if that takes the edge off. And I was like, okay, great. That sounds totally reasonable. We did that, and I don't think I've been thinking straight since. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just been like, life has been really hard since then. I've had recurrent episodes of a couple of days at a time where I've just been like really anxious without an explanation necessarily, but looking back, I probably did have an explanation, and like, I don't know how to explain the last 4 months or so of my life.
Right.
But I started talking to my therapist about it. I set up another meeting with her, my psychiatrist, and explained this. And she said, maybe you have something like OCD. And that would explain that things were worse when she increased my dose. Because the medication that I'm on can make OCD worse.
Well, tell her what your psychiatrist said when she
horrible.
said maybe we should increase your dose.
Yeah. What? Oh, no. She said that this time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, not the first time.
So I met with her in October. She increased the dose. I felt like things were okay. December again, I met with her. I subjectively was doing a little bit better, only because I hadn't had like a really bad trigger of my OCD now that I know what it is. So anyway, things were good. She said, let's go another 6 months because my medication was good. It's expensive to meet with her. She only manages my medication. If things are going well, there's no reason to meet sooner than 6 months. So she was like, 6 months, that's good. It was like a month later that I called and made an appointment with her because I was really not doing well. And when I met with her that time, I said I've had multiple episodes of just like really bad anxiety. I don't know what's going on. It seems like things are worse than ever. I've never had an episode as bad as the last one that I had. And so we started talking through that and she goes, have you ever been diagnosed with OCD? And I said, no. And she goes, okay, well, maybe it's that. Maybe we need to increase your meds. Maybe if you do have OCD, increasing your meds made this worse and we need to decrease them. Or we could leave them the same. And I could see an argument for each of those. So we're sitting here on the phone talking.
And that's why they say you practice medicine.
Right. So we're sitting here on the phone and she's like, I could see an argument for increasing your meds or leaving them the same. Or I could see an argument for decreasing your meds. And she basically leaves it up to me. She has never said, we should increase your medication, I'm gonna up it. It's always my choice, always.
Which just seems backwards when you're dealing with a patient with a mental illness.
When I came to her, I was on Zoloft, and it was my choice to switch to Cymbalta.
Is that just because of breastfeeding, or is it why?
I guess
or because
partially
it wasn't working?
Because Zoloft wasn't working, and because Cymbalta is not technically approved for breastfeeding, but she gave me like a website where there's tons and tons of anecdotal evidence that says it's fine. It's only because it hasn't been like formally studied. So she was like, it's your choice if you want to switch to Cymbalta. I said yes. So I did. And I was like almost done breastfeeding Eloise anyway. So then I'm on Cymbalta. When I increased it, she was like, it's your choice if you want to do this. I can see why you should maybe do it, da 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 da. Like, it's always been, she always leaves it up to me.
Yeah. That's just, I'm not gonna leave it up to my patient if they wanna increase their drops for glaucoma.
No, no. I am fairly certain that things got worse in October. And I'm trying to get some like objective evidence that that's the case. And so I feel more anxious since then. I feel like I'm more wound up. I don't know how to explain it. And so I went on I have an Apple Watch, and I went on my phone and I'm like, let me look at my heart rate, because I feel like when I'm really anxious, I can look at my heart rate and see that my heart rate is elevated. I looked at my heart rate from October to now, and it like, I was pregnant. After I gave birth, it came down. It was pretty much low until October, and then it has been like steadily increasing. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, okay. So I took a screenshot of my heart rate average and sent it to Brad, and I'm like, can you send me one of yours? Because maybe it's just our life. Because November is when we started thinking about moving.
That's true.
And so I'm like, maybe we're both, like, this is just the season of life that we're in, and it's not just me, and like, we're presented with this opportunity to move, and we're both just like feeling more anxious overall because of this. And so I had you send me your screenshot, and his was like a flat line. Not even anywhere near mine, but yeah. That was when I started thinking maybe, what?
Maybe there's a problem.
Maybe there's a problem.
And there definitely is. So then, what made you finally find a therapist and now start therapy?
My psychiatrist said, if this is OCD, this is the treatment. This is the gold standard treatment, and I think that you should probably proceed with this. During that type of therapy, they do assess you. So when you're signing up for the therapy, it's like, do you have a diagnosis of OCD? And you say yes or no. And I said no, because I've not been diagnosed with OCD at this point. She just suspects it. So I said no. And then basically it led into your first session. And during your first session, she does an assessment, and she asks you certain questions. And some of the questions are, it's not like they trick you. Like, they don't overtly lay out OCD stuff. It's mixed in with anxiety and normal stuff. And like, they go through these questions and scenarios and follow-up questions, and then... Is it like a computer, or do they actually... No, they actually ask you. Yeah. This was our first session.
Gotcha.
Face-to-face, video, we're talking to each other. It's called NoCD, N-O-C-D, NoCD.com. So if you are worried that you might have OCD, or if you think that you have OCD for sure, and you don't have the official diagnosis and you want to get help, go to NoCD.com, and it's really, really, really well done, because like, every single person that you encounter through the process has experience with it. You know what I mean? Like, even the people that are setting you up with your therapist for the first time have experience. So I don't want to use any of this.
Why?
Because
why?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we may or may not publish this.
We're not going to.
All right.
Let's start over.
No.
Yes.
No.